we go. Okay, so there's that. So go click on your sign in thing so you can get that. Looks like my map link is not working, so let me fix that real quick. And that should take care of that. All right, so please do sign in right now. Get your money. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop over here and get things rolling. So if you are accessing the slides, there's also a link to the slides and the sign in right there if you want it. Otherwise, it'll be in the chat. And if anyone wants to help me out, if we got folks that kind of sneak in later and they want access to that stuff, if someone wants to occasionally just throw a fireball of links at them, that would be good. Easy way to do that is just copy paste my stuff right there on the screen and then paste it again. Thanks, Adrian, but that was my first round bad try. It was my second one right there. That one's got my functional link and everything. So no problem. I appreciate it. But click on the your gold thing to go get your sign in and starting things off. So folks, this is the plan of what I'm going to be hopefully running everybody through. So I'm going to try to get you guys to where you can go ahead and create a teacher account. You'll be able to get a class started. You'll be able to start to learn about some stuff in the game, walk through some of the steps, understand some of the game mechanics, and hopefully get into some customization. Ideally, we'll jump pretty heavy into customization during the sandbox if you decide this is something that you would like to invest some of your time into. But we'll get the basics rolling pretty much right now. So this thing, let me go ahead and steal my link right here so I can drop this in the chat as well. And before you guys go click on this thing, let me just tell you something real quick. So it does exactly what it says there. If you click on this using my referral link, it'll give you a free month of premium. It will also give me a free month of premium. But something I want you to be aware of up front is that does not start right now. Your free month will sit there and wait for you to activate it. Because I know a lot of the time when we jump back in, it's like, nope, I'm too busy. And sometimes our month of like free stuff will be burnt up and gone by the time we are ready to think about it. This one will just sit there until you're ready to use it. So please go ahead and use that link. And once you do that, it should pop up a screen like this. So if you would, everyone, please do go ahead and run through this process with me. If you are like, hold on, I missed something, just unmute and holler or type something in the chat. I'm trying to track it as I'm cruising through. But go ahead and get that started. And I do recommend that you go ahead and just sign up using your district Google account. It will simplify a lot of stuff for you down the road, and it won't hurt anything. So starting off, it's just going to be like, hey, give it permission. And then you'll just need to go ahead and put in your basic information. It might even run through it automatically. I'm not sure. When I was creating this a screenshot, I was not using my district Google account because I had to find screenshots. but eventually you should get to right here. So once you're there, this is just a short little read through. This is the basic introduction screen, and it's just gonna talk you through a few things. It's like, hey, we're glad to have you here. I just hit continue. It's gonna just give you a brief introduction and say, hey, we're just gonna work through this a step at a time. Really cool thing about the Classcraft team, the people that are behind this, is they have a really robust support system. It's not only programmed in, but if you reach out to them, they're very responsive. They'll always do their best to help you. Anytime I've ever had an issue and I asked them for help, I got help. So that's a good thing to know. Anyway, go ahead and click continue if you're there. It talks about the group effort. This is them just saying like, hey, we are here to help you out. And they got their own set of, like their own team of people ready to help you out as we're going. So it's the let's begin thing, and then you should see something that looks like this amidst a bigger screen. So before I leap over to my sidebar and start sharing my screen that is similar to that one, make sure I got that over here. There we go. So, you guys ready? Start pushing buttons and following along? Give me a yep or something. Or if you're like, hold up, then holler a hold up. Because I don't want to leave anybody behind. All right, folks, here we go. So I recommend that you just go ahead and click on that create my first class thing. And you can start off, if you just want to make something to play around with, you can just make a test class. If you're thinking like, hey, I'm definitely going to use this, you can type in one of your real classes. But don't worry, if you want to start with just experimenting, which I figure if you're new to this, that's probably where most people are, and just make yourself some sort of test class. You can archive it later and mess with your stuff. Class settings, I'm just going to stick with, I teach high school. And for you guys, we're going to go step-by-step setup, which is ideal for new users. Cool thing in advanced options is there is an ability to select language. So if you are, or you think your students would be more comfortable with Spanish or whatever, I mean, if it's there, have at it. And so I'm going to go ahead and create our class. And you should see something that looks like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit the play button up here, and it's going to step by step talk us through some stuff. And once we get this rolling, it almost kind of slides into more of a self-paced, where I would be happy to like step by step everything and kind of narrate, but some of you might want to slow down and read and click around, and some of you might want to blaze through and start experimenting. So we'll just kind of see as it goes. All right, just as a real quick, there's like a little megaphone thing up here. They like to throw updates. I think right now they're advertising, says, see, like kids get winter gear. That's just, they do seasonal stuff a lot. Give kids access to things like Halloween gear and winter gear, and I think they even do Valentine's Day stuff. Let's set to okay, or delete the second one. Okay, glad you figured that out. All right, and back over here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And what we're going to want to do is down here at the bottom, you'll see this class progression introduction. Go ahead and click on begin my class setup. And folks, this is where things get very much self-paced if you want. So ideally, these things down at the bottom. It starts on the left, and you eventually progress all the way to the right, and they talk you through everything. So there's stuff to click through all the way down to the end, to where when you're eventually a pro and know how to do everything. So I think what I would like to do together is at least take us through the introduction chapter. And then when we get to the discovery part over here, if you want, I can kind of go hands off and let you guys progress more and play support. Because all the stuff that I was explaining in the slam, it will talk you through here. Now it's kind of like top level stuff where it doesn't really dive into it, but if you have questions, I got you covered. Also, just as a general idea, when I'm on my screen that I'm sharing right now, I can't see the chat window. So if you guys need something, just holler. All right, so I'll go ahead and start with this thing. So it's just talking you through the experience points and stuff. I talked about this in the slam. Basically, you give the kiddos experience if they do good stuff, and if they get enough, they'll get a level, and at certain points they'll get powers if they get high enough level. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on continue, and you can see, all right, that's checkboxed. Basically, it just explained it to you. You want to see it again? Click on the same thing again, and it's right there. So this is just top level basic explanations. And this is going to give us the opportunity in this next box to just kind of start off with picking positive behaviors that you want to see. So they start off with like, hey, what do you want to encourage? Because they have some presets that you can pick from. So you can pick anything that you want here. If we want to say like, oh, what do I want to encourage for my students? Let's say that we want to encourage, let's say, curiosity. And let's see, I think you can customize as much as you want later. In fact, I'll share with you what I have down the road. I got a link for that. It's even in the slides if you want to mess with it early. But in any case, if you click on this, it'll pop up some things that are just like they're and easy to use. If you're like, no, I don't want that one, you can just turn it off real quick. But in any case, there's that. And then these are the universal powers. So these are customizable. This is just the game's initial settings. And if you're like, hey, that does not look like something that I want to use, don't worry about it right now. You will be able to customize this stuff totally and completely to fit your style. But for the moment, let's just go ahead and click on done and call that part good. The next part, enter student names. So the cool thing about this thing is it's pretty well integrated with Google Classroom. So as far as creating a student list and adding students, you'll notice right up here they have a Google Classroom link. And you guys don't worry, you can swipe kids from one of your Google Classrooms, port it into Classcraft, and they'll never know it until you actually invite them. So don't worry about like bombing out their inbox over winter break and confusing the heck out of them. They won't know what happened. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Google Classroom link. And choose the account. Oh, I can't like double up on mine. All right, I'm going to switch over to my real account real quick and show you guys that. So give me a sec. Okay. Anyway, this was what we were looking at a minute ago. So under the Google Classroom, you should be able to pick from your classes on the left side. There's all the kids. And if you wanted to add someone in, you just click on it. And then when you hit that assign to class button, it basically just puts the kid in the class. And they won't know it until you get to the part where you invite the students. So at a point here, this will give you an opportunity to actually send an email to all the students. It'll do it for you. And it'll give them an invitation to join the class. But you can already have them in the class and set up with teams before you get to that part. So you go interface. No, I don't want to do that with my main screen. And I think what I'd like to do at this point is kind of push it over to you guys to click through some stuff. And all right, let me just check real quick. So you guys at the spot where you're able to get your students in your class if you want to. If you're like, whoop, I don't want to do that right now, that's okay. But if you get there, then I recommend you just continue to go ahead and click through that stuff. And I want to show you something else that's just kind of a handy if you just want to start experimenting, playing around with stuff, is if you go to your home screen and all the way at the bottom right, there's a demo class. The demo class is kind of the safe place to mess around. Because one of the cool things that this does is it lets you play with a made up class right here, just the way that you would want to. I think you also have the ability to view your demo class from a student point of view. Like if you click on an individual student in the demo class and you want to view as a student, in the normal class, the demo kind of lets you explore. And then you can see, hey, what does this look like if I'm a kid in the class playing the game? That's one of the cool things there. So I think if you guys are all right with this, I'd like to go ahead and do for you is have you click through the rest of that bottom stuff, kind of self-pace it. And I'm going to pop open the chat and I'm going to listen. And basically, if there's anything that pops up in anyone's brain as you're going through your intro level stuff, let me know. Because I don't want to go through all the more complicated parts in the beginning. We'll save a lot of the customizations for sandboxing. You guys okay with that? Yep, go for it. All right, click through. I'm going to lurk in the background, and I am here. You guys holler if you need anything at all. The demo, to reach the demo, if you should be able to access the home. So I'm going to go ahead and pop over here. So on just about any screen, if you look at the top left, there should be a little house icon. And that will take you back to the main screen where you probably have your test class up at the top. If you scroll all the way down on the right-hand side, there's your demo class right there. You are welcome. As you guys are running through those chapter progressions, if you have any questions, you let me know. Folks, in about 2 minutes, I'll go ahead and do an aside, and I'll go ahead and show you some of the things that I have in the game. That way you can get an idea of how you might be able to use it. And if you need more like personal walkthrough time, the sandbox will be there if you decide this is something that you want to explore with more. All right, folks. I figure different people are going to be in different places by now, but I want to go ahead and share some more with you. Since I figure you've got your test class up, you clicked through, you started to learn some things. So I just want to give you an idea real quick of like, what does this look like in my classroom? So to begin with, usually as students are coming into the classroom, I will have up on the board, usually I'll have the to-dos up and available. So I'm not sure how well you guys can see that in here. I'm going to do some zoom, make this a little bit more clear to you. So 22 days ago in class, there was a random event where rocks fell from the sky and several students got hit by rocks. Don't worry, they're okay. But what this is nice about is having this stuff up in the front on the board reminds the kids like, oh, we should deal with this. Because this way, if their team guardian is paying attention, they can go and basically block the damage for their buddy. But at the beginning, I just keep this stuff up. As far as initial class thing, I'll a lot of the time real quick go through and just click. If a student is not here that day, I'll click the button. All that does is it excludes them from being like randomly picked. If you use a picker, it keeps them from being included in game events if they're not there. So after that, I'll usually go ahead and run the delayed damage. And by that, I mean I resolve things from previously. So like for instance, this over here. If no one has protected the student from those 3 hearts of damage incoming, I'll go ahead and just let that be resolved. I'm not going to do that right now because I still want to give my kids a chance when we're back in class next week. But after running all the delayed damage, I will oftentimes pop over to the class tools and use the random event of the day. Now, there's this cool super swoosh down guy. He makes like a whoosh noise and everything. And then I'll click on the C event. And what that does is it pops up one of my random events. So once again, I'm not like, I don't want to actually trigger an event in this class, but to give you an idea, this is my list of events here. There's all sorts of stuff. I got everything from like beautiful days where everyone gets healed a little and gets some crystals. Tests of teamwork where I like pose a challenge to all the teams to see how well they can do. Physical things like the ruler test for the Guardians. And that, you guys ever do that thing where like you drop the ruler, you see how quick you can grab it? So I can knock this stuff out in like a few minutes. The kids have fun. Can send like a giant wave of spiders that comes and attacks everyone. Free-for-all combat competition within the teams. I have them roll dice. Basically, I found the key to random events is it ideally needs to be something that's hopefully fun or unique, something that they might be able to take advantage of or enjoy, and it's something that you need to be able to resolve quickly, because I don't want to get stuck with a random event that's going to take 10 minutes or something to resolve. Most of my random events take somewhere between like 5 seconds and 3 to 4 minutes for some of the big ones. And I make sure I don't have very many big ones. So after that, a lot of the time it's just on to class stuff. And so I tell them, all right, we're switching over to class mode. And at that point, I don't even have this thing on the board anymore. I switch over to my class stuff. And then if I believe someone has done something good, I can click on a name and click on the little plus and be like, hey, this kid is paying attention. One of the things that I like to do as a overall class check is I'll look around and I'll say, all right, who's doing what they're supposed to be doing? I can click on this little top thing up here. This selects everybody in the class. If I'm be like, oh, that Arturo guy's not paying attention, I can deselect him. Be like, oh, that Fabian guy ain't paying attention, I can deselect him. But everyone else is, and then I can click on give points and just click on that real quick. And I do this in the background. A lot of the time I don't even tell them that I'm giving them a reward, because they have access to a game feed ability to where they can see what's going on. The game feed for me looks like this, but the students have access to it as well. You can see what that looks like from a student point of view in the demo classroom. But basically, I do stuff in the background. Sometimes if it's a day where I'm having the students run through, like I'm lecturing, one of the things that I like to give them points with real quick is the correctly answering an academic question. Because as I'm teaching something, very often I'll be asking the students questions. Since I teach physics, sometimes it's simple math stuff or concept ideas. But if they get something right, I can real quick in the background click through this stuff. A lot of the time I keep my district assigned Chromebook open next to me on the side. And if someone does something that's rewardable, I can just reach over and be like, click, 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 and then continue. So it doesn't really take a lot of energy out of me. And it's the kids get the reward for it. If someone's messing around at the same time, I can go back and deselect everyone. Say like, oh, this kid was playing on their phone. So I'll click on that. And if they have damage coming to them, they have the abilities, let's look at some of their powers real quick, to do stuff like this. This is a basic guardian skill. They have the ability to protect their teammates. It's like it actually shows you very much the mechanics right here. They prevent 2 hearts from being lost. They don't even take the full damage themselves. It costs them a crystal. They get experience because they're supporting their team. The other basic thing is like healers have the ability to heal. Go figure. And the other main basic thing is the mages have the ability to use mana transfer, which is basically giving their teammates crystals, because they have to have crystals to use their basic game powers. And if they don't have the crystals, they can't use the powers. These are basic team support things. As far as some of the more customizable things, like for instance, this is a low-level thing that I have access to. So if they use all their crystals, they can listen to music during classwork time. Normally I tell them it's like, nope, earbuds out, it's not okay. And they have to check with me before using this power. So if it's like a classwork time and they get clearance with me, and if I give them permission first, then they can use the power, and them and their whole team can stick their earbuds in and rock out while they're working. Fun thing about this is sometimes you'll have one group that has permission and nobody else has permission. They'll look over there and be like, hey, how come they get to listen to the music? Because they used the power. If you want to have that, if you guys want to listen to music too, you got to use your power. But it's costly. It's 6 crystals. Normally, they only get 1 crystal a day, which means at tops, they're going to use that once every 6 days. So you're looking like once a week, maybe. But they enjoy it. And let's see here. We're pretty much at the, I think this stuff is supposed to wrap up at 44. Double check. Yep. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and then I'll be lurking right here in this same link for the sandbox at 11. And if you decide that, hey, I think I want to invest some time in this, fair warning, folks, there's a time investment in setup. This is not to make this game really, really awesome, you kind of have to make it your own. That's what I've done over time. I've gotten a kick out of it. But if you're like, whoop, nope, not for me, hey, that's okay. It's not going to hurt my feelings or nothing. But if you decide to come back for Sandbox, if you want to dive into this a lot deeper, I'm going to go ahead and share with you, when you come back, my game settings, which will basically give you all my random events, all my behavior settings, all the pledges, everything that I have in my game settings, I'll share that with you. And then we can play with customization and a more detailed understanding of game mechanics. So folks, hope to see you at the Sandbox, but as for the moment, we are kicking on a 15-minute break. So I'm going to just go audio, video off. I'll be lurking right here. If you decide to come back at 11, I'll see you then.